Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Team Series. First, I want to apologize. We were unable to go live today from our event in the East Region. We had horrible cell service, and it was very hot, but a very fruitful day on the water for all the teams. I know there were some frustrating moments for a lot of the teams. A lot of big fish in this lake, and just a good day. We're going to break it down and talk about it. So, got myself with the Lunkers, Rick Morris to my right. Got a couple other guys in here, and we'll add them in. But kick this off, I first and foremost want to give a shout out to Mr. Keith McGee. So Keith put in a lot of legwork here to kind of run our live today, and felt horrible that we weren't able to do it. So here we are. I think he's got a lot of questions and answers. Probably tweak those a little bit. Now that we know the results. So Keith, I'll take it away. I've got a couple things to share. We could look at the leaderboard. We can look at some photos. We could talk Yak Attack and all that stuff, kind of how the weekend transpired for all of us. So Keith, thanks in advance. And I hate that we weren't able to help out this morning.
Oh, no problem. It is what it is. So you want me to go through some of the questions? All right.
Yeah, if you want to go through the questions, or if we want to talk results first, however
talk results. Talk results. Then we'll come back because
we can skip the results. We don't need to hear those.
Well, we'll put it this way. James already gave me some flack. I made a little jab that Virginia is for Lunkers. The Lunkers were victorious today, and all that means is history repeats itself, and the home teams are 0-3. The home teams have not won an event this year. It's crazy to think, but here we are. But it's amazing, right? So let's look at the leaderboard real quick. Now that everything is, approved and everything's locked in. So can y'all see that? Is it coming up on the screen? There it is. A little delayed here. Sorry. Farmville Wi-Fi is not the greatest. Let me know when you see it. You got it?
Just got it.
All righty. So Lunkers victorious, but still a little stinging. We were a quarter inch shy of the 200 mark. We kind of joking yesterday, like, man, if it gets silly, like it could get silly. And we really were at the end of the day trying to breach that. Dontrell caught a late 21 and a quarter that got us right up to it. We all lost fish today. I know why I could speak to hit that. I lost one good one that would have helped. But Virginian anglers, anchored by Tyler Bumgarner, heck of a day, as always, 91 inches. They came up with 181 and 3/4. They caught most of their fish, if not all their fish, very early on. I think they caught up a little bit throughout late morning. And then the privateers in third. I know they had a challenging day. Happy to see they put a limit together, 172 and 3/4. It was tough down the water. Craig Brashear's with us, anchored that team's bag with 83 and 3/4. So great down the water, sir. So with that, there's the results. So just like last year, here we are. We got close matches, and we've got tied points for the top two, tied points for whoever's leading the region. So big win for us. Huge win. It's tough to lose. It's tough to lose at home. So I know how y'all feel, Craig and others. It's tough, man. There's Dontrell. Let me add Dontrell in here. Yeah. A big day, too. What's up, DT? Made it to South Carolina, man. This guy's a road warrior, looks like. Dontrell, you're on mute. Just FYI.
Here we go.
So, Keith, there it is. There's the results. This lake has giants. We crazy enough. Like I asked Jason Hensley this morning. I said, all right, actually, I asked everybody. He answered it for us. How many citations are we going to see today? Which is a 22-inch fish in Virginia. And he threw out the number 4. I thought, I could see 2. But not a single citation. We almost breached, over 180 inches twice and not a single citation. We went out and fun fished and Mr. Wyatt Hammond changed that for us. So we can share a picture of that. He put a lovely 22 3/4 on the board, which was just a toad. But yeah, it was tough. We didn't, in hindsight, I don't know. I think we caught 4 fish between us in fun fishing afterwards. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, I'll quit yakking. Keith, I'll take it away, man. You had a bunch of questions for us, and I want to give everybody a chance. You want to talk about guys stay in the water or whatever? You're the man.
All right. So, David asked me to do the live stream this morning, and so unfortunately, without the coverage or without enough cell service,
it must be really delayed. Keith, did you get that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
He's in Farmville. He can't hear you. Trust me.
I was going to. Are you good, Craig? Can you hear me just fine?
I can hear you. I think everybody else can hear you except for Farmville.
Okay. So
we can hear you, Dave.
Let me send Dave a text real quick. I tell you what, Dontrell, can you send him a text real quick? I'll start talking, and we won't have awkward silence. So I decided, one of the worst things whenever you're doing a live stream is you end up with dead air.
Huge delay, but we'll figure it out.
So I put together some questions that I was going to ask. So they were meant to be during the first couple hours.
Just go with it.
Okay.
Now we can't hear you. Oh, now I can't hear anybody. What the hell is going on here? I can't hear anybody.
No, I can't hear Keith.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Keith. Oh, it's all broken now.
Wow. Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good now.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. For some reason my AirPods were working, now they stopped. So
now you're really low.
Stand by. Let me try this again. How about now?
That's better.
Okay.
Good.
Technology isn't it wonderful? So what I was trying to say was, I had a question meant for the first couple hours of today, and just wondering, how did your day go compared to how you had planned? We all go into a tournament with a plan, and just curious as to how your day went. So, Craig, if I just go around, can I ask you that question? See how you.
My day, technically my day kind of went to plan other than the number of fish. I went to where I wanted to fish and I caught fish. Well, I kind of caught fish. It was weird. Today's setup was just weird. The last time I was there, I caught big inches, and today it was just where I ended up being. The water temperature was super, super warm. So I ended up really in an offshore bite, 7 to 10 feet over milfoil. And it got me my 83 3/4, and that was it. As the day got warmer, the bite went away for me.
Gotcha. Tyler, how about you?
Well, I fished last week and found some good fish. And I didn't catch a single fish today. How I caught them last week. So
Wow. Don Trail, you had a good day.
Yeah. I was really hoping that I could just sit on the school like some other people, but they never came back. I mean, they were there yesterday at the end of practice, but then right before we got off the water, I saw two guys that were over there fishing it. So I was like, well, they may be there, they maybe not. And so I went and checked it this morning. I saw a couple fish roaming, but nothing. And the spot I found that I caught 3 of my big fish on, I just happened to come across it just running the bank. I saw a brush pile out in about 8-9 feet, and there were a few fish stacked on it. And that's where most of my fish came from. It was just that one spot.
Gotcha.
And then another spot that I checked, or that Wyatt had, that he sent me to, since he was busy. So I went and checked one of his spots and pulled a couple of fish off of there. But it was pretty slower than what I thought it was. Yesterday, it was almost like you could call your shot and catch a fish yesterday, but today it was a bit slower.
Well, you did come back with a strong fish right there. I think I read your Facebook post. What, with like 10 minutes left, you got the 21 1/4 or something like that?
Yeah, because I was up that creek, and then it kind of died down, and I was debating on whether or not to just try and keep milking that spot or try and run back to the brush pile at the mouth of the creek and see if I can pull one more off of it. And I just cut bait and ran, and then I got there with like less than 10 minutes left and got that fish on the board at like 126.
Perfect. So Wyatt, how'd your day go? I mean, on paper it looked good as I was tuning in regularly.
Yeah, I mean that's about how I was expecting it, because it was entirely an afternoon once the sun got up light on the offshore stuff, because those offshore fish just scatter to the wind at night, and it takes them a little while to actually regroup and everything. So I just camped out. I used 3% of my battery and camped out there and just waited for them to come back.
Well, that's a good day whenever you only use 3% of your battery. That's a good day. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There's a picture of your. Is that the one after? Is that the fun fishing picture, Dave?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice one.
Yep, that's the 22 3/4.
Nice. All right. So, Dave, you and Rick, either one, how'd your day go?
They're in Farmville again.
Okay, evidently they are.
Play now. Are we good now? Can y'all hear us?
We can hear you.
That's about how the day went. No cell coverage.
Yeah. So I'll say something real quick. So one thing is I maintained my sanity today whenever I saw that the anglers and Tyler specifically jumped out to 130 some inches, to 30 inches or whatever it was, and I was like, okay, our guys just can't have good cell service in order to upload.
Yeah, I didn't get all my fish in until 12:30.
12:30
when I got close enough that I could put my fish in.
Really? Yeah. It was one of those things.
I was sitting on my second fish. I was sitting on my second fish for probably 45 minutes before it finally went through.
Well, I texted Dave, and Dave texted me back. He said, I've got an 18 1/4 that I can't submit. So once he submitted, I'm like, oh, maybe the clouds parted and he had an open moment to be able to upload a fish.
Yeah. As soon as the wind blows, your signal just goes.
y'all hear us through the phone by chance?
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit better. It's just still delayed. We're just
A little bit.
listen, apparently, because we're just gonna listen. We'll catch up later.
Okay, we'll do that. Hey, some of these questions I don't feel are really right for afterwards, but one of the questions that I was going to ask this morning was, up until today's tournament, we had only, in the East Division, in the first 2 tournaments, we had only had 4 fish over 20 inches. And they all came at Randleman. We didn't have a fish over 20 inches at Rappahannock. So I was going to ask, did everybody, what did you think? Would we, catch more than 4 and double the amount or what? And I think it was 8 or 9. I had counted earlier. I know there was 8. I'm not sure if the one Don Trail loaded up right there at the end. So I see 9. I see Dave holding up a 9. So, that's 8. I see 2 hands. Okay. So long story short, it was a good day for 20 plus. There's a 9. That is a 9. I know I'm from Wilkesboro. It's hard to understand me. It's what it is. So think about it. We only had 4, so there were 9 today. So that's a pretty good day. Speaks really well of the fishery. I had done a little bit of research and found out that basically in 2022, can't see it, Dave, too white. The paper's too white. In 2022, that was the where most citations for largemouth came from in Virginia. And in 2023, it looks like, if I counted right, there were 23 citation bass caught in Sandy River in 2023. So
that's like a norm. I mean, last time I fished a tournament there was 2 years ago. I put 108 on the board and came in 3rd.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I got Casey reeded, so
those are citations that are submitted.
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah.
I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 times that number, if not more than that.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Well, I had a giant break off at the boat, and I don't know if the line got nicked on my drive, on my transducer. I don't know. It popped up beside the boat. It jumped, and then my rod just went boop, and the fish was gone. And it was you could look through his mouth and see his ass. So he was big.
Oh, wow.
And that might have been the big one for the day. Could have been, would have been, should have been, but I did manage to catch a pickerel and a catfish. Does that
good
count?
job. Yeah. Well, kind of like the anything but. So I had a bunch of other questions related to, fishing line and things like that were time fillers. I don't know how well they really work here. But so, Dave, I don't know if you're going to be able to talk. Did anybody that's able to talk very much fish with the new Yak Attack board, with the leaderboard?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I like it.
You do? Nice.
It made my 20 and a quarter fish look small just because it's wider. But one of the cool things about it, if you read everything on the internet, everybody's complaining about that little mirror on the front. When you slide your fish up and you glance at that, you can see if the fish's mouth is open.
Right.
It's crazy how you can and it's just a glance to see if it's open, because how many people submit a fish, mouth is open a little bit, and they get deducted.
Right.
This one you can actually see it. I didn't have a glare issue with it, even at noon. The angles of it, you might get a glare on one panel, but you won't get a glare on the other.
Well, just looking, I mean, it looks nice, and I do agree. If just looking at the picture, like in Wyatt's, whatever, you see a big fish on it, it does make the fish look smaller than it would otherwise on the boards that we're more accustomed to, whether it's catch or whatever. So that's minor, though. I mean, as long as the board works well, it holds the fish well, holds your identifier well. The mirror is an interesting thing. I haven't seen one in person yet, so I'm curious as to how I feel about that. It sounds like it ought to work really well.
We'd share a picture. I just don't know how to share a picture.
Yeah, I thought Dave was going to try to load one up. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say is just from and again, I've not, been in person with one of the boards, but if you just look at this picture, it's harder to see the lines. It's harder to see, how long that fish is until you zoom in, which is, could just be that photo. I haven't looked at a bunch of photos, so that's the one thing I'm kind of worrying about, because that orange is pretty dramatic, as always, which we like Yak Attack orange. I do. If anybody so whenever you're submitting it, is it pretty easy to see your links just like it is with any other board?
Oh yeah, you look down
Okay.
at it. I had no issue seeing how
Okay.
long the fish was.
Yeah, it's probably just the way I'm seeing it on the board. And I like the fact that it floats. That's a pretty cool thing because I've almost lost a board. I haven't lost a board that I remember, but I've almost lost one, and it's nice not to, especially whenever you put the money into these boards that we do.
Dave, I will send you a video on the modification that I did for the 10 tag too, if you'd like.
I'll speak for Dave. He would love to have that.
If you go back and look at my 10 tags,
I noticed
the adapter piece. It sits on just like the catch one does. So.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, that looked good. So I mean, was today, were you able to fish your comfortable way? And I'll use this for example. My go-to, my most comfortable way to bass fish is power fishing. It's fishing with whether it's a chatterbait, a crankbait, a buzzbait. Oh, there we go. There's Dave's monster.
Wow, in the mirror you can see it from end to end. That's pretty awesome. That's a big fish.
Oh.
How did you net him?
What was that? Believe it or not, that fish was 18 inches. It's just the board makes it look small.
Oh, wow. That's a monster.
Is the smell closed or is there a half-inch deduction?
Well, if you deduct a half inch, it'll go into the negatives.
Right.
Wow. That's a great fish. That's a trophy right there. But yeah, so in thinking about it, like my comfort zone is more of the move and more of the power. I call them power baits, but chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, buzz baits, things like that. And it sounded like whenever you're going offshore, you're fishing more, things that are a little bit slower, whether they're dragging bottom with something or whatnot, but or maybe not. So I don't want people to divulge too much information.
I threw a beehide. I don't care. I threw a jackhammer across the top of milfoil. They were coming out of the milfoil to grab
nice.
a jackhammer off of it. So I was power fishing offshore.
Nice. I had no idea that Virginia anglers threw a jackhammer. I just had no idea. Oh, so Wyatt, there anything you want to talk about your? Again, I don't want people to divulge more than you want to.
I tell them I had to custom make a jackhammer with a one ounce jig head. So I got a 1 ounce jig head, and I took one of the little Queen City, the blades, the switch blades or whatever they are, and I custom made a 1 ounce chatterbait so I could get a reaction bite out of those fish out there.
Wow.
It'll be on Tackle Warehouse next month.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on Tackle Warehouse. Wham fishing.
Tyler's the only one that made money in this tournament. I think he pulled $100 lure out of a tree.
Is that what it was?
What'd you pull out of a tree, Tyler?
Some nice wake bait. I don't know what brand it is, but about 2 minutes left to go in the tournament, I saw this shiny object hanging in a tree, and I was like, well, I've caught him with a minute to go, so I'll keep fishing until 1:30, and 1:30 came along and went and picked it up.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the winning bait at some point.
Oh, I'm going to throw it.
I'm hoping it's in a Virginia Anglers, one of your local individual tournaments, not in the next team tournament.
I'm bringing that thing to Chick River.
So I do have a question that to the other anglers other than Wyatt. So I fished with Wyatt a little bit. I've watched his videos, and I've got a question. So I feel like I have to be prepared for just about anything out there on the water. So I carry more rods. You would think I'm on a 20-foot bass boat. I'm carrying 10 to 12 rods with me, with all sorts of different stuff on. And then Wyatt goes out there with 4 rods, probably only uses 1 or 2 of them. I think the others are just for show, and then kicks my butt every time we go fishing. So I'm jealous of it. I was just curious if anybody else ever wonders, do I really need all these things?
Yeah. Well, they say they always be scared of the guy who only brings one rod.
That's right.
One rod. I mean, I'm a gear junkie, so I always bring stuff because I always hate the what ifs when you get off the water.
Yep.
But
Yep.
you're dialed in.
I caught him on 3 today. I caught him on 3 rods today.
Oh, it was a tough day then, wasn't
Yeah.
it? You had to pull a 3rd rod out.
Well, I mean, I had 9 rods and I only used 1 rod all day, or I caught all my fish on 1 rod all day.
I had 10 rods. I caught them on 1 rod and 1 bait all day.
Yep.
Yep.
And the truth is that's, you carry 10 rods, you catch them on 2 or 3 for the whole day. But, the one time that you only carry those 3 rods out there, you needed something that you didn't have. At least that's what's in my head. So I'm like,
or you have a terminal failure of a reel or something like that, or a rod.
Right. I've done
you
that.
Need to back up.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say I do have a spare reel and stuff. I do have a spare reel and line and some of that floating around.
Well, Lord knows if you can build a bait while you're out there, I'm sure you can change your reel. Just as a question with so I've had this problem twice, actually 3 times. So on a couple of my reels, an Ambassador, one was, I forgot what one was, but long story short, whenever you try to take the spool cover off and it's just got the open and close slide button on the bottom of the reel, you know what I'm talking about? So if you're going to take the spool off, you open it and you can pop in that whole face plate, usually on the left-hand side of the reel, because I reel with the right hand. So the left, it'll fall off. So 3 times, evidently setting my rod down into my rod tube, to hold it, I have flipped that closed to open, and I picked up the rod to make a cast, and my reel side fell off and my spool falls out. And I've had to have 3 different replacement sides before. So am I just a klutz, or has anybody else had that? Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
It sounds like
It'll
just
happen to
need
me
use a
next
different
time
reel.
I go. I know that now.
Oh,
It
look,
happened
now
to me on one of my Abus, and I picked it up, and as I picked it up and the cap wasn't on, the spool fell out of it and went into the water.
Yep. Well, what I've done now is basically, if it doesn't capture that side plate, if that side plate will fall all the way off, I don't buy that reel. Just because evidently I'm a klutz. So it works.
I made the switch to Shimano this year. I don't remember. I don't have one with me. I don't remember.
Shimano's, at least, like, I've got a couple Tranks and stuff, and they're captured. So that works pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't buy those high-end Shimanos. I have SLX MGLs. I love those little $150.
Oh, I bought one. American Legacy had them for $99, and I've got one of those, and that is I got the little 70 size, and that is a fantastic reel. The only reason I have a couple Tranks is because I live at the coast, so I saltwater fish as well, so that way I can just go back and forth without worrying about it too much. I'm going to skip some of the other questions. I don't know if Dave wants to come back on, how we want to kind of wrap this up. I know the next tournament, I'll take the liberty of talking a little bit about the next tournament, Roanoke Rapids, which is next weekend, because now we're kind of back-to-back weekends. Is anybody doing the double duty? I think for the lunkers, we're going to field 4 separate people, so we'll have a total of 8 within 2 weeks.
I'm not fishing it, so
Okay.
I'm not fishing.
Hensley might, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I heard it's the grass fields, the stumps out there, so
Yeah. It's definitely got grass. It's got stumps. It's it's in. Like I say, I've fished it about 20, 25 years ago. Whenever I lived in that area, and used to fish it quite a bit. but it's been 20 plus years, so I really have no idea. Things changed so much over that time period. So
Yeah.
should be an even playing field. We'll just say that nobody's got any sort of a home field advantage here. Of course, maybe that's a good thing, considering the way home field advantage doesn't seem to play out too much in our East Division.
I just think it's kind of crazy that there's 2 Virginia teams and 90% of the tournaments are in Carolina.
Well, that's because you're very accommodating people.
No, it's because the other Virginia team said we're going to fish in North Carolina this year.
Well, you can throw a rock to Virginia from Roanoke Rapids Lake, so it's
That's
kind
true.
of a middle for a I'm gonna call it a shared lake, a whatever you want to call it.
It's actually fairly close to me. It's like 2 hours. So
Oh yeah, that's good. I think a lot of people it'll be in that 2 hour range. Obviously not me, because Tyler and I'm probably the furthest south, and Tyler, are
Yeah.
you the furthest north that you know of?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, we probably bookend the north and the south ends of this because I'm at the South Carolina state line.
Yeah.
So, well, I had Dave back for a second. Now he disappeared again.
he's in Farmville.
I'll tell you what, for a state that has such good fishing, you sure do have terrible internet.
Well, there's nothing. I mean, literally, the only thing that makes Farmville Farmville is a college.
Oh, really?
If that college wasn't there, it would be an off ramp with a sheets, and that would be about it.
Wow. Hey, there's a yak attack. Is that a koozie?
That's a koozie.
Nice.
He got
Yeah, I
red
would love-
carpet
It's Farmville.
service
That's
the
what
other
makes
day
Farmville
there.
Farmville.
Farmville. Hey, tell me a little bit about the yak attack tour, if somebody who can.
He can't talk. It's I'm on their
Why
I'm
can
on
talk
their
about it?
staff, so I'm on their pro staff. So it's a cool place. They got to see an injection molder, the robot one, doing his thing, making black pack lids and all
Okay.
that good stuff. Actually, I think those were bases, not lids, but they got to see a lot of where the manufacturing happens, the laser for the board. They got to see a lot of the boards. They were stacked up in there, so
Okay.
they just got to do
it's cool.
a whole walk around the warehouse and see what it looks like, all the manufacturing side of it.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
It's cool. It was cool to see, a company fighting like tooth and nail to make everything in house and everything in USA as opposed to just outsourcing everything and taking the easy way out for some stuff. Just making their own molds and doing everything. So that was really cool.
Really, the only thing they really have to outsource is their nets. The net itself, not the framing. They actually build and bend. Well, they don't manufacture the tube, but they bend them. They put them together. The only thing that they have to source out is actually the net that they put in it.
Well, I knew that yak attack. I guess I was the 2019 national championship, and at the yak attack booth, a guy came in and he mentioned to the guy that was working the booth that he said, that his net, his what's called a leverage net.
Yep.
He was having a problem with it. Well, the guy said, "Well, bring it in here," and he switched the net. He gave the guy I don't remember if he gave him just the net part, but whatever. He fixed the guy's problem right there for nothing, with a guarantee. And I was like, that's the kind of people you want to do business with, to Wyatt's point. As much USA made, USA people, USA parts, and then that they look after their customers. And I think that's a hallmark of that company. And fortunately in the kayak world, there's a lot of American stuff that we can continue to use and not have to skimp on quality or spend, a tremendous amount of money more than what we would for some Chinese knockoff kind of thing. So I'm appreciative of that. All right. So I think that's all I've got. We'll get ready for Roanoke Rapids. I'll be headed up there later on this week to hopefully see if I can find the lake again. As long as the GPS works, we'll be fine.
Good job, gentlemen, in whipping our asses completely today. I mean, this was like a redheaded stepchild beatdown. So bad.
Well, there's always another tournament. So,
Yeah, we'll pay everybody back.
I hope not. All right, so we got a wave from Dave, so we're going to take this and let Dave whatever he wants to do in Farmville.
I can try to
He
talk.
can't do
I hate.
anything in Farmville.
I had all this plan. I wanted to talk and say these things, and no, Yak Attack was great. Love Sandy River. It's an awesome lake. I can't wait to come back.
Pretty
It's
sure
too
put
damn hot
that
to
Yak
fish
Attack
Bowery
Tuesday to good
tomorrow.
use is what
I
he's
wanna
doing.
do that. Putting that good use. With that, y'all be safe next week. We're out.